Right, this is how cold it is. Is it December 11th? So it's the third frost in a row we've had here in the UK. I'm looking at the carnivorous plants, which are hardy. So we've got a Venus flytrap, which is looking quite pretty with the frost on it, but these traps will brown and die off. They do send out little tiny traps throughout the winter, and then in the spring you'll get the new bigger traps. Also got some honeydew, which is totally died back now. Got some little Sarracenia which have died back, they're sort of frosted off. Got another planter here with a mixture of Sarracenia again. So these little picture plants we can see, they're filled with water and that's totally frozen as well. So these will all brown off and die. So we just cut them back in the spring and let the new growth come through. So they're not anything to worry about, because these do come from areas mainly on the east coast of the US, which they do experience frosts and cold conditions, and a lot of these are a lot harder than they look, because you know they do look like sort of quite exotic plants, but they are acclimatized, they're used to, you know, in their genes they do take frosts and extreme colds. I mean, some of these could be hardly down to minus 15 degrees. But so it's another nasty frost today, and I think my phone is telling me it is -2 at the moment. I think we had about -3 last night. Pretty clear skies, so with the sun out I can feel the sun. It's not saying it's warm, but I just feel quite pleasant. The sun is got a little bit of warmth behind it. The banana leaves have started to brown and droop along with the tetrapanics. That's totally expected. And again with all the cannas, they're pretty much browned off now. The little cord line, really I should have chucked a bit of fleece over this, because this is, I probably would take these temperatures, but the chances are, because this has been sort of freshly transplanted late in the season, sort of summer season, and it did take a lot of root disturbance, so that might be touch and go, but we'll see. Washingtonia robusta, you see there's some frost on the leaves, and they've gone quite dark green, but with the washies, you know, you do expect to lose the older leaves, especially the ones that are sort of hanging out on a flat level. The ones that are more upright are the ones that will probably pull through winter and get you started next year, and they do tend to kick out a few decent leaves over the summer, so nothing to worry about there. So earlier on in the week we had a look at the Canariensis and the dwarf canna that were underneath at the time. They were still nice and green, and we can see these last couple of nights of frost have really done these in, so they've just browned off totally. Again, to be expected. Obviously some plants you don't worry about whatsoever. These bamboo are one, they're not a concern. We have got some jasmine here, so it's a nice evergreen climber which does flower sort of sporadically throughout the year, Normally get a flush of flowers early spring and midsummer, and we had another flush late summer. And again, nice evergreen, sort of quite exotic, tropicalish looking foliage. And yeah, the flowers obviously give off that nice scent. But yeah, they're nice evergreen climber if you want something for year-round interest. And once they get going, they do really get going. So we've got a sort of archway here, and you can't really even see it, so I might have to trim that back in the spring. So yeah, even though we've had sort of -3 last night, we're gonna have a look in the summer house and see what the plants are doing in here. So nice to shut the door. This is kept frost free due to the small heater, which kicks in at when it goes below 4 degrees. That'll just keep it around 4 degrees at the lowest temperature, so we know we're not going to get a frost in here. So we've got the alocasia, we've got a leaf that's yellowed out there. Yeah, we've got another leaf showing some signs of dying off, but that's again to be expected. These are kept, I haven't watered in here for probably about a month, so everything's dry and cool, and hopefully that'll be enough to see them through the winter until we can get the spring temperatures start warming up again. So the bird of paradise, absolutely fine. Leaves still looking good. A lot of the bananas are still looking good. So we've got the Heniba there. So I dug that up probably a couple of months ago in October, and that is, I left all the leaves on it basically and just potted it up and brought it in here. So that's, hopefully that'll just sit there ticking over dormant. So a lot of these bananas, especially the ones where we leave the leaves on, you are going to get browning off because we're not watering them. They're going to be kept dry, so the leaves are going to die back to an extent, but the main thing is the leaves, or just the centre spear leaf as it comes out. As long as that sort of stays as it is, again when spring kicks in, that should start growing without too much of a problem. So the all the small palms seem to be okay, no issues there. So we have got a couple of palms in here which I dug up from the front garden because they just weren't in the best position. So we've got the Serenera ribbons, or saw palmetto, and that has got several growth points on it. There's about 5 little growing points on that, so it probably didn't like being dug up, but it's in a big pot and we'll situate that in a better position next year. That really does want full sun, nice little heat trap somewhere. We'll do that nicely. And the Triphanix campestris sort of started to decline, so we dug that up as well, and if that survives being dug up, when that starts showing signs of new growth next year, if and when, then I'll be planting that out again in the back garden somewhere. I've got an interesting one. So I've got at the back here, see what looks like it's pretty much dead. That is a Yucca purpurea, so it's a soft leaf yucca, sort of purple leaf, which I had on the side of my pond. And then sort of like a lot of plants, you got them scattered about and you forget about them. well, when I emptied my pond out, that's sitting in the bottom of the pond, so that is totally submerged for, I'm going to guess, at least 3 or 4 weeks. Sat at the bottom of the pond, fully underwater, and looking a bit rough obviously, but it does seem to be a bit of green growth come out the middle, so we'll see if that one pulls through or not. That'll be an interesting one. Being that yuccas, obviously you tend to keep them quite dry, so yeah, that's one I'm going to be watching out for. Obviously it's not the ideal time of year for it to be in recovery mode, but we'll see. But yeah, so we know that we're not getting frosted in here. A lot of the plants aren't looking happy, and we've got colocasia here. This is just an escalente, so I totally expect that to totally die off, or at least, yeah, we can see the leaf is sort of gone, so we'll take that off, and that'll probably die back to the stem about here, I'd imagine, hopefully anyway. Then when the spring come again, we'll get the new leaf come out about here where we can see that ridge. If not, that'll die right back to the bulb, and then we'll start from scratch. I've got a lot of colocaceas underneath the table here, so they're in pretty dark conditions. We've got a mixture of Escalente, Black Magic, Diamond Head and the such, so the leaves haven't really died back on them yet, so we'll see how they go, because this is the first time I've tried sort of overwinter them in this manner. Normally the fussier Black Magic I bring indoors and they just about hang on through the winter, then kick back into growth in the summer. But yeah, we'll see. Just keep them cool and dry, fairly dark. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's really all I can tell you at the moment. So it is quite nasty and cold out there, but it is winter after all, and we expect temperatures like this, but again, we don't tend to get them this early. It's more sort of January, February, but you know, we're still due for maybe another 4 or 5 days of freezing nights and frosts, but at least during the day we are getting a bit of relief when the sun comes out, and that's just helping to defrost things, because I think the more damage is when you don't get that slight bounce back and sort of things get a chance to defrost during the day. When it's totally frozen for a week solid, then that can cause real problems. But yeah, as long as we get a bit of a thaw out, a bit of a bounce back, hopefully things will have a chance to recover a bit. But yes, we'll keep you updated on any plants which we think may be an issue. We have got the new Chevalier Taiwanian underneath the bag here, so there's no frost on the leaves on that, so we'll see if that pulls through. But yeah, it's you can see there's sort of, there is ice on the leaves on this cord line, so that is gonna damage the leaves. You can see already that we start to get a bit of mottling on some of these leaves, so we are going to get damage, no doubt about that. But as long as the plant doesn't die, we'll get a new flush next year. Right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching.